He stood there drenched in red wine, shoulders back, no defense. And when she whispered, "You have no idea who's watching," he almost laughed. Because none of them had a clue who he really was. If you're ready to hear the whole story, click subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're watching from, because tomorrow, I will be giving you another story just as crazy as this one. And you don't want to miss it. Now let's get into it. The doorman nodded as Noah stepped out of his modest brownstone. No limos, no security, no designer suit, just a navy pullover, worn jeans, and sneakers that had seen better days. He liked it that way. The world behaved differently when it didn't think you mattered. He sipped black coffee from a street cart and walked 4 blocks before hailing a cab. The driver didn't recognize him. Perfect. Noah didn't want to be seen. Not yet. Today's meeting would decide who took over the largest software rollout in East Coast retail history. $800 million on the table. Dozens of firms fighting for it. He already knew who the frontrunner was. But they didn't know him. Not really. Ava tucked a pen into her bun as she reviewed the team's slide deck for the 3rd time. The numbers were perfect. The pitch airtight. The boardroom polished. The client anonymous. Some foreign investment firm with no name, no face, and a fortress of NDAs. "We don't even know what they look like," her colleague Raj had joked. "Could be Batman for all we know." Ava didn't laugh. She was too focused. Skyglass needed this deal, and she needed this win. Not for bragging rights. For survival. If this closed, she'd finally qualify for partner track. She adjusted her blazer and told herself, "Don't flinch. No matter who walks through that door." The mixer buzzed with synthetic charm, handshakes, fake smiles, strategic compliments. Noah blended into the crowd like furniture. Nobody noticed the guy with no badge, no glass, and an old wristwatch. He moved slowly, watching. The Skyglass team was near the fountain. Their lead, Ava, was setting up the team's display board. Her posture was controlled, her expression unreadable. She didn't look like the others. And that's what made him pause. Her heels ached. Her team joked too loudly. And she spotted a man lingering near the back table. No drink, no blazer, just watching. She assumed he was someone's assistant. Or a vendor. And yet, he looked directly at her. Not at her chest. Not at her badge. At her. Weird. She turned away. Bryce Cohen arrived late, as usual. The junior VP with perfect teeth and a father on the board. He saw the man near the table and raised a brow. "Who invited the janitor?" he muttered. Ava's stomach turned. "Bryce don't." But Bryce was already walking over. He didn't see the wine glass until it was too late. Bryce smirked, brushing past him too hard, accidentally tipping his drink. Red soaked down Noah's chest. The room paused. Gasps. A few laughs. Ava froze. Noah didn't flinch. He looked down at the stain. Then up. Right at Bryce. Right through him. "I think you've had enough," Noah said quietly. Bryce blinked. "Excuse me." Noah turned to Ava. "I'm fine." Ava swallowed. "Let me get something." He shook his head. "No need." He walked out without raising his voice, without rushing. But Ava couldn't stop watching him leave. Have you ever misjudged someone in the first 5 seconds, only to realize later they weren't who you thought they were? Share your moment in the comments. Noah pulled the stained shirt off as he stepped inside. His assistant, Lauren, was already there. "Ready for tomorrow?" she asked. He nodded. "You sure you still want to meet them in person?" He poured himself a drink. "Yes." "Even after today?" He smiled. "Especially after today." Ava walked in early, the hum of the projector already vibrating through the glass. The final round. Every exec on high alert. No word on who would be joining from the mystery firm's leadership team. She glanced at her own notes, then up at the freshly updated nameplate on the door. She blinked. Langston? That name hadn't been mentioned before. She'd read every background brief. There was no Langston. Noah stepped out of a black car in a tailored gray suit, his hair slicked back, tie crisp. No more sneakers. No more silence. The doorman greeted him with hesitation. He nodded once, headed for the elevator. The door opened. Every conversation stopped. Noah Langston walked in, clean and calm. Bryce choked mid-sip. Ava froze. She couldn't breathe. The man standing at the head of the table wasn't the one they'd poured wine on. But it was. She knew it. Noah didn't acknowledge anyone directly. He simply said, "Thank you for having me. We've observed every part of this process, from how your team handles data to how it treats people off-record." Bryce shifted in his seat. Ava stayed still. Noah continued, "Langston Holdings is prepared to move forward with a firm that leads with integrity, not just polish." He clicked to the next slide. Ava didn't hear the words. She only heard her own heartbeat. She caught him just as he pressed the down button. "Noah." He turned. Slowly. "Ava." Her voice dropped. "You knew the whole time." "I did." "And you let that happen?" He tilted his head. "Let." "You said nothing." "You did." She blinked. "I defended you." "You hesitated." Silence. She took a step closer. "Why didn't you say who you were?" He looked past her. "Because people treat you differently when they think you matter." Another pause. Then softly she said, "I would have treated you the same." He met her eyes. "That's what I wanted to believe." The elevator dinged. He stepped in. The doors closed. Bryce paced Ava's office, red-faced. "You should have told me who he was." Ava stared at him. "You poured wine on a stranger." He looked like a vendor. He looked like a person. He scoffed. "You think I'm getting fired over this?" She didn't answer. Because she didn't know. And because maybe she hoped the answer was yes. Have you ever watched someone get exactly what they deserved, but still felt uncomfortable about how it all unfolded? Share your thoughts in the comments. Noah sat alone, staring at a copy of the Skyglass presentation. It was flawless. And yet, that moment, Ava, frozen in the elevator bay, was what stayed with him. Not her mistake. Her silence. Her struggle to choose. And the look in her eyes when she said she would have treated him the same. He wasn't sure if he believed her. But for some reason, he wanted to. The blinds were down. The air felt heavy. Ava had replayed the elevator moment all morning, but every version left her colder. She should have said something different. Or maybe nothing at all. But it was too late either way. Now Bryce was under review. The team was rattled. And the Langston deal? Unclear. She sent a message to her boss asking for a meeting with Noah Langston. No reply. Just silence. Lauren entered with a folder. Skyglass sent a follow-up. Ava Ramirez requested a one-on-one. Noah didn't look up. Decline. Lauren hesitated. You're sure? Yes. He didn't offer more. But inside, he was replaying the exact same moment Ava was, her voice. Her face. The half-step she took toward him before he walked away. Why was it easier to stay angry than admit he cared? She leaned against the concrete ledge, city lights flickering below. Raj joined her, 2 coffees in hand. You all right? She took one, nodded faintly. No. Bryce is losing it. Let him. You know, Raj said, Langston didn't cancel the contract. He just paused the final signature. Because of me. Because of us. But yeah, maybe especially you. She looked out over the skyline. I wanted to be proud of the way I earned this deal. Maybe it's not lost. Ava took a slow sip. Feels like it is. The house was quiet. Too quiet. He scrolled through his inbox, finger hovering over the message Ava had sent earlier. He opened it. I don't expect forgiveness. But I do want to understand. If I was wrong about you, maybe I'm wrong about a few other things too. He closed the laptop. That wasn't just a professional message. That was a person trying. And it scared him. Ava sat with her untouched muffin. Noah didn't show. She didn't expect him to, not really. But she'd written the location at the bottom of the email. Just in case. After 20 minutes, she stood. He was there. Inside his car. Watching. He saw her leave. Saw the way her shoulders dropped slightly as she walked away. He clenched the steering wheel. He didn't get out. Ever held back from reaching out to someone, then regretted it when the moment passed? What stopped you? Share your story below. She deleted the email draft before sending it. She was done chasing ghosts. If Noah didn't want to be found, she'd stop looking. But part of her still wished he'd turned around. In a city of millions, it had never felt so hard to be known. A scheduling error. That's what Lauren called it when she stepped into Noah's office. There's been a mix-up, she said. Skyglass was moved to the morning block, and Ava Ramirez is leading it. Noah looked up from his notes, jaw tight. I'll reschedule, Lauren offered. He shook his head. No. Leave it. Ava tapped her pen against her tablet, unsure if this was a test or punishment. Noah wasn't late. He was deliberate. Every second that passed felt intentional. The door clicked open. Noah entered, posture composed, expression unreadable. Ava stood. Mr. Langston. His voice was even. Ms. Ramirez. Everyone else seemed to disappear. The pitch went smoothly. Too smoothly. Charts. Data. Projections. Professional. Polished. Distant. But when Bryce began speaking about core values, Noah lifted a hand. That won't be necessary. Bryce blinked. Excuse me. Noah didn't look at him. I'd like to hear from Ms. Ramirez directly. Ava's eyes widened. What part? All of it. Not from a script. Not from notes. But from something raw. Your company's future isn't about profit margins. It's about people. About whether they're heard when no one's watching. About who you are when no one's keeping score. Noah said nothing. The room was silent. For the first time, she didn't care if they got the deal. She just wanted to be understood. She caught up to him as he walked toward the elevators. You didn't have to do that, she said. He kept walking. Do what? Put me on the spot. You weren't on the spot. You were honest. She blinked. Is that what this is? Some social experiment? He stopped. Turned. No. This is me trying to decide who you really are. A pause. And what's your verdict? He looked at her, eyes sharp but tired. Still being written. Noah sat at a long table reviewing firm files. Lauren stepped in. Want me to remove Skyglass from final consideration? Noah hesitated. No, he said. Leave them in. She stared out the window, thinking about his voice. About the fact he hadn't smiled once. About the way it still mattered. Noah rarely came down here. Too many reminders. He pulled an old project file, meant to review Skyglass's past contracts, but what caught his eye wasn't paperwork. It was a worn folder, tucked beneath a shelf. His father's initials on the corner. Inside, photos. One showed a young intern, standing in front of a Skyglass logo. Eyes serious. Shoulders tense. Noah didn't remember her name, until he did. Ava. Same posture. Same fire. He sat down, the room colder suddenly. So she'd been here once before. Lower. Smaller. Quieter. And she'd climbed. The light from her laptop cast shadows across the room. She stared at the email draft for the 5th time. Subject, I didn't tell you everything. Deleted. She closed the lid and pulled out an old journal. Inside, a clipping from her college internship, a rare photo of her standing beneath the Langston Holdings banner. It was the only day her mother had ever come to the city. She remembered her exact words. Speak like you deserve to be there. Even if they don't listen. Ava had spent years doing just that. She hadn't realized until now that one of those silent listeners had been him. Noah opened his encrypted notes folder. Skyglass, top tier. Ava Ramirez, leads with composure, hides behind it. He typed, then paused. He deleted the line. Replaced it with, speaks when it counts. Even if no one's listening. Raj dropped off a file. Langston sent this. Personal addendum. She opened it. The first page was data. The second was a handwritten note. I remember who you were. I see who you are. Don't let the room define you. Not again. NL. She read it 3 times. The paper shook slightly in her hands. Lauren approached Noah. Everything okay? He nodded. Then softer, do you ever wonder if hiding was easier, because it meant never being disappointed? She looked at him. Or because you never had to explain why you left people behind? He didn't answer. She didn't push. Has someone ever surprised you with who they used to be? Or who they became? Drop your story in the comments. We'd love to hear it. Ava left an envelope with the front desk. Inside, a copy of the old internship photo. On the back, she'd written 1 sentence. I was listening too. Ava didn't expect the envelope to be acknowledged. But there it was, her photo, taped to the inside of a coffee mug on the terrace table. Beside it, a note in Noah's sharp handwriting. I make better coffee now. Want to judge for yourself. The rooftop door clicked open behind her. Noah stepped out, 2 mugs in hand. Still add cream. She took one without speaking. He didn't fill the silence. They stood at the ledge, watching the skyline fade into amber light. I didn't think you'd respond. I wasn't sure I would, Noah admitted. What changed? You gave something back. That photo, that part of my memory, I didn't know it meant anything to anyone else. She looked down at the mug. You remember the day? Every word your mother said to you on that sidewalk. A pause. Most people talk to impress, he said. You talked like you didn't care if anyone was listening. That's because I didn't think anyone was. They shared a moment that wasn't about work. Not performance. Not positioning. Just presence. Ava leaned against the ledge. You really don't like being seen, do you? He smiled faintly. Only when I don't have to explain who I am after. Is that why you hide behind other companies? That, and because I hate being asked for things I can't give. Like what? Time. Loyalty. The version of me they expect. She studied him. I never asked for any of those. I know. That's what scares me. They passed through the quiet path near the lower courtyard. No security. No press. Just leaves underfoot and late spring air. I used to come here after my shifts, Ava said. Noah raised a brow. You worked here. 2 internships. Bottom floor. Mailroom. Everyone forgot your name the second you walked out of the elevator. He slowed his steps. Maybe I was one of them. No, she said softly. You were the guy who held the elevator door once. Didn't say anything. But you didn't let it close either. He stopped walking. That's not nothing. No, she said. It isn't. She turned to face him. I think I spent so long proving myself, I forgot what it felt like to just be. He held her gaze. Same. A beat passed. No one poured wine on me after though, she added. He laughed. The sound was quiet. Warm. And for the first time, she saw the man behind the silence. They sat on the stone bench beneath the soft light of an old garden lamp. Close enough to feel the shift. Not touching. But not apart. The meeting was internal, just strategy leads and legal. Noah sat at the head, focused, precise. Ava entered midway, requested by name. Not scheduled. Not briefed. He didn't flinch. You're early. She placed a folder in front of him. Final proposal revisions. He scanned the pages quickly. Numbers, figures, timeline. Then paused. This schedule, who adjusted the close date? I did, she said. We're accelerating. His tone cooled. That wasn't authorized. We've already alerted the teams. It's aggressive, but possible. He didn't look up. You should have asked first. She stiffened. I made a call based on your own criteria. And took control of a decision that isn't yours. The room fell into silence. She took a breath. Are we doing this in front of them? He stood slowly. No. We're done. Ava followed him out. What was that? You don't speak for this company. I wasn't trying to. I was. You were proving you could outpace everyone. You wanted control, not collaboration. She stepped closer. You asked for someone who speaks when it counts. I asked for someone who sees the difference between being bold and being reckless. You didn't seem to mind recklessness when I was defending you in a wine-soaked blazer. He flinched. A pause. Then quietly, that wasn't about business. Exactly. So when did it become just that again? He didn't answer. She waited. But nothing came. So she left. Lauren waited by the window. You pushed her out. Noah didn't respond. You asked to see who she really was. Then when she showed you, you punished her for it. He paced to the bar. She overstepped. She was building with you. He poured a drink. She was proving a point. Lauren softened. And maybe so were you. Her phone buzzed. Message from Noah. You were right. About the numbers. But not about me. She didn't reply. She deleted the message before she could reread it. She closed her laptop, leaned back, and stared at the ceiling. All this time, she thought he was afraid to be known. Maybe, he was afraid to be wrong. Noah stood at the same spot in the garden where they'd sat days earlier. Empty bench. Silence. The photo Ava had returned was gone from his desk. So was the mug. And the door she'd left open between them? Closed. The city was barely waking. She stirred honey into her tea, letting the spoon rest against the cup's edge still. A suitcase sat at her feet. Skyglass had offered her a transfer, different office, new client, clean slate. It wasn't running. It was repositioning. That's what she told herself. She opened her phone. No new messages. She'd waited for one. But maybe some silences meant the door was closed for good. She locked the screen, picked up her tea, and let the warmth settle her. He stood where they'd first shared coffee. Wind tugged at his coat, the mug still in his hand. Lauren stepped beside him. She's leaving. I figured. She didn't resign. But she declined the review offer. He nodded once. She gave you a chance to explain, Lauren added, quiet. You didn't. Noah didn't respond. Lauren took a step back. You said the world behaves differently when it thinks you don't matter. He turned slightly. Maybe, she continued, but the ones worth holding on to behave the same, especially when they think you do. She sat by the window. The skyline blurred as the train moved. In her bag, a printed proposal. Langston's name on the cover. She should have shredded it. Or at least left it behind. But part of her wasn't ready to erase the evidence of what almost was. Not just the deal. Him. The version of herself she was beginning to trust. He stood in the lobby with his keys in hand. Still. Hesitating. He pulled out his phone. Opened her message again, the one he hadn't responded to until it was too late. If I was wrong about you, maybe I'm wrong about a few other things too. His fingers hovered. Typed. Deleted. Typed again. Is it harder for you to say I was wrong, or to say I still care? Be honest. Drop your answer in the comments. Ava stepped off at the transfer station. Just long enough to grab a second coffee. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Just one line. I'm not finished. And I don't want to be, unless you are. She didn't move. Didn't breathe. Just stared. Then, slowly, she smiled. Noah at the garden bench. One photo. One coffee mug. And a second cup, still warm, waiting. Noah sat alone on the bench, a closed envelope in one hand, untouched coffee in the other. Across from him, a fresh plaque had been placed on the wall, beneath a row of wild ivy. The people worth building with will never ask you to hide first. A soft voice behind him, you don't know how long I stood on the other side of that gate, wondering if I should walk away. He looked up. Ava. No bag. No distance. Just her. He stood slowly. Why didn't you? She exhaled. Because I'm tired of proving I don't care. Not opposite this time. Side by side. Noah handed her the envelope. She opened it. Inside was the original photo she'd returned, but now it was framed. And beneath the image, he'd written in careful ink, You spoke like you belonged. I heard you then. I believe you now. Her fingers trembled. Why me? I've been in every room you've had to fight to be in, he said. But I never once had to prove I earned it. I just inherited the key. And you reminded me that there's no point having access if you don't open the door for someone else. They talked about the deal, then stopped. Because it wasn't about contracts anymore. It was about everything they hadn't said. Everything they'd said too quickly. Ava leaned forward. You never told me why you were there that night. At the mixer. Dressed down. Alone. He shrugged. To see what people looked like when they weren't performing. And what did I look like? Worn out. Controlled. Ready to bolt. She smiled. Accurate. You stayed anyway. I didn't know you were the one watching. That's the point, he said. You didn't have to. The same spot. The same silence. But now, no tension. Just presence. Ava glanced down at his mug. Still bitter coffee? He handed it over. You tell me. She took a sip. Winced. Still awful. They both laughed. Then quiet again. Then a breath. And she said, I'm not walking away. His voice barely audible. Neither am I. What matters more in the end, being right or being real? If you had one person you could say, I'm not walking away to, who would it be? Let them know. Or tell us in the comments. Ava rests her head gently on Noah's shoulder. He closes his eyes. The framed photo sits between them on the bench, catching the last streak of golden afternoon light. No titles. No distance. Just two people who saw each other. And stayed. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.